All right, what's up, guys? How's everybody doing? Can everybody hear me? Ready to go? Can you guys? Awesome. How's everybody doing? It's been a minute.
We good. We're doing good. We can hear you clearly.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, man, it's been a minute. Been a minute. Um, well, yeah, let's see. It's been, I want to say, check Discord real quick. I think it's been since like September since we did like the last one. Kind of went on a little hiatus. Kind of just stuck to myself for a bit. I've been working on a project literally since the week after that last due. That I'll show you guys here in a bit. But um, it's good to be back. I will try to do these a little bit more often. I do have a lot of free time now. Like I was really busy like 6, 8 months ago. So now we should be ready to go and kind of just get back to some type of schedule. So I hope everybody's been well. But today I'm going to just review like two executions I did this week. I wasn't looking at chart too much this week. Get you guys's case studies for today, and I do want to show you guys the project before we get to the case studies. So let's go ahead and get started. I don't want to take up too much of y'all's time. So this week I had two scenarios. One was both they're technically sweeps on a minor to major intraday time frame and then once I zoomed internally, I just looked for right some type of transition, and I pretty much a very similar setup on both ends. So I'll go ahead and show you guys. It was EU and AU. So looking for a sell after sweep, right? And the result for this one was that I had missed the execution for maybe like 1.5 pips ish, right? Missed my entry, but went straight to target. So let's go ahead and talk about this. Okay, so if we're on EU, right, looking at my execution, which was on, or the mistrade, which was on Tuesday, right? I was looking at right? The external, which would have been the major, obviously this is bullish, right? From going from bottom to top, it's bullish, right? But when we're looking at internal structure, meaning in a more of like a minor intraday structure, right? We have our major intraday leg, but we need a CBOS to begin the pullback so that we can then continue higher, right? But as we created our internal pullback, we came back into, right, a potential I would say discount equilibrium, but a point of interest. So therefore, I am expecting for this high to be taken out at least in the short term. But the problem here was that we had now, if we begin to zoom in, say in 15, right, as we're creating that internal move that we're expecting to take out a previous high, right, we do come in and we do sweep, right, a previous point of liquidity, aka previous the Asia session high of like last Thursday. So as soon as we had taken a sweep, we got an internal move into the downside. But overall, this is still bullish. I'm just kind of anticipating this sweep and then the confirmed liquidity grab to be a sign of internal unwillingness. And if I'm not going to reach for this high, then you can clearly reach for the previous low, right? Because if we're in a trending market, you're either going to go up or down, meaning you're going to create a new high or a new low, even though we're expecting this to continue higher. Sign of unwillingness, internal LG, right? Now, if I can find something down here, then I have reasonable targets, aka the scalp, the minor intraday, and then the major intraday target. So as we begin to zoom in now, let's go ahead and use replay here. As we begin to zoom in, oh, I did not know they added that, but oh well. As as we're becoming or coming into New York Open, right? The New York Open is around 8:30 for me, but I do like to get on my chart right around 7 a.m. So what was concerning to me at the time, right, was I can't consider this a low high retracement continuation because we did not create a new high. We created a sweep. So based on whatever internally is happening here, I can justify some type of move. So if we were to now zoom in even more, then we can clearly see, right, that there is a solidified point internally, right? Because in order for the LG to be confirmed, you need internal bearish structure. So technically we are going through, or we are showing, sorry, internal bearish structure, right? And right, this entire move looks extremely corrective. That was one of the biggest telltales for me is the momentum. How fast is it going in a certain direction? And we're clearly going semi-fast in one direction, and then in the opposing direction, looks like we're really struggling to really give some type of bullish momentum. So, right, once this had occurred, right, which is right about, I want to say like 7, a little bit after 7. Right, I don't know if this is a news event. Doesn't matter. Don't care. What was very important to me is the fact that what this wick represented, right, and that wick represented, right, a pretty much a mitigation coming back to the last buy to, I mean, yeah, the last buy to sell. Sorry, as you can see here, last buy to sell, right? That then led, more importantly, which is the number one key for me here, is struggling here. The fact that this reaction, this sweep of liquidity that was very fast, but it's coming and breaking structure internally, right? And not to mention we're about to enter right into New York session. So with that in mind, that's kind of creating a bias for me where we're sweeping liquidity, we're coming back into a previous POI, right? And we have an internal transition. So there's multiple ways to go about it here, right? I do or I have been using Fibonacci's as reference. Right. If the OGs remember, you guys remember the golden pocket days. It still works today. I don't really care what anybody says about that. It's still a reference point for me. But my issue with taking a position here based on Fibonacci was to the left, which we did not have any type of point of interest on like any time frame. So there is no real place to put my stop unless I would just be guessing for a potential something like this. Right. That's the only thing that would be reasonable, but the RR just doesn't make sense to me. So I just had to wait. And what I'm looking for now is right an internal transition. So what do I have here? Right, I know internally there is internal micro bullish structure that is then confirmed, meaning this is now a solidified point after reaction of the golden pocket, but this is solidified now. So right, if we are new, or this is now representing unwillingness to the upside. So I am now looking for a frame into the downside, and I could have even uh added a fib here as well, like if we're right, an internal micro fib, right? And it came back into the golden pocket as well. And then this one would have been a little bit more reasonable. Um, but right, coming back into where my execution was, um, my execution was right after, right, we see a buy to sell that broke the internal microstructure that created the solidified point, that justified the unwillingness to the upside, right? I was looking at the final buy to sell here, right? And I was looking for some type of movement into the downside. So once I saw a small sweep of liquidity, right, I then used the last buy to sell internally to create a little range for me, and this was my entry. But unfortunately, it just didn't reach. It did miss by about literally a pip, right? A pip. So unfortunate, but it is what it is. Like I didn't have enough conviction to take it off this buy to sell. I didn't have enough conviction to take it here and then have my stop loss at the top just because I didn't have too much conviction in the zone in and of itself. So I waited a little bit too long, right? Waited for the final push that cleared internal liquidity, created a new internal micro low, and unfortunately just missed the trade. So is what it is and move on to the next. But either way, if this would have hit my entry, then my first target is at the previous low, which happens to be an Asia low, but this is the pullback low, right, of the sign of unwillingness. And then you can go out to the minor intraday low, which is also an Asia low, but more importantly, this is the final internal leg that went into the upside, right? And that would have been the minor, and then the major would have been down here, right? Which could have easily scaled up for a little bit higher, right? So the reason why even these targets are viable is because we are getting our bias from right a major intraday time frame based on this initial sweep. So this initial sweep generated this entire idea. I just needed to find the timing to find an execution. Okay, so number two, right? AUDUSD, which is also a very similar play where we had a sweep, then we had an internal move, and then we had an internal transition. This one was actually like kind of a textbook play for me, and played out perfectly, right? Played out almost immediately, right? Where we had the internal engulfing after we swept internal liquidity, and we just came back, put my stop loss at the reaction of the point of interest, right? And got about like a 1 to 4 in relatively like under 30 minutes. So mm, let's get back into this one. Took this exact same trade. Nice, nice, nice. So my initial bias at the time was taken from right one key effect or one key cause, sorry. So right, we did not break a previous high. We swept the previous high. Um, and then one of the main questions I get is like, what's the difference with like a break of structure and like a liquidity grab or a sweep, right? And it's kind of an intuitive thing where the easiest way for me to put it is distance, right? And something being intentional. Like this is an intentional break, right? But whereas here it looks like we're barely scraping by and sweeping a high, right? So excuse me. So if it looks like we're barely sweeping a high or we're barely taking a high or low, then I'm more likely to imply that we're probably going to see some type of move into the opposite direction, and it looks like it could just be a liquidity sweep, right? And whereas you have a break of structure, right? Like let's say here, break of structure, right? Where we don't just take a low and then immediately start to reverse. We have time where we're kind of around that previous low, right? And the intention doesn't seem like it's just a move in the opposite direction, more so just a recovery and then potentially create a new low, right? So to begin with, like I said, we had the sweep here, right? And we had the sweep here. So I know that I'm not just going to sell here, right? But this is a point of interest. But this point of interest can be a potential bias setter for internal moves to the downside. So if I have a transition in here, then I can justify movement to the downside, and then I can justify internal target, external target, right? So once we begin to zoom in, right? Like I said here, here's where that liquidity sweep was. Um, I didn't use any Fibonacci here, I believe. No, I did not. Oops, sorry, I did not use any of that. And we did create a sign of unwillingness, right? Where did that unwillingness start? Well, here, right, where we have Asia session giving us the bullish move to the upside, right? CBOS continuation, right? CBOS internal, right? But we do create, right, a potential POI here, point of interest, and then break a bearish solidified low. So that just shows to me low, high, retracement, unwillingness, break, right? Does that mean I'm going to sell right away? No, like I need a transition. So once we come into, right, the New York session, right, more importantly, right, we're failing to break, right, a potential demand area, and we're getting reactions from the potential zone. So once we break through that zone, then that obviously is OFD, right? For everybody who knows order flow disruption. So once we have order flow disruption giving us a bias, which is on the M5, then right, we can now potentially look for a transition once we come back into a premium. So here is where you can justify a right potential move into the upside. So where is my point of interest? My point of interest is this last buy to sell candle here, right? That you can see go up and down, right? And right, once you begin to zoom in, then obviously I have to look at um, internal bullish structure. But I did take a semi risky um position. But the reason why, right, is just a tendency that I've always kind of gone with. So there's two tendencies that I've been using a lot over the past like, couple weeks and months. It's right when you have relative equal highs or you have two relatively close highs, sweep, and then come down, that shows an intention to the downside. And number two, I really, really like engulfing candles. Really, really, really like engulfing candles. That's one of my number one confirmations that I've had for like years, right? Probably since I first started trading. But now I only implement that right after I have a bias so I can have an excuse to enter. Because even though we may not have a full break on an internal time frame, we can have an engulfing off of a point of interest, off of a bias derived from major intraday. So that's enough of a, or that makes it justifiable for me to take that position, right? Or at least take the risk on it. So, right, we do see the tendency, right? And then I believe on, see what time frame this was. I think it was M5, was it? Yeah, so there was a sweep of these internal highs, and then I did see an engulfing candle here that engulfed the body of two previous candles before that. So that showed to me an intention to want to go lower. Um, and I technically should have put my stop loss here at a potential invalidation point, or to be even more conservative here. But this is just the risk that I'm willing to take, right? Is it technically textbook to have my stop loss here? No, but I'm okay with that. If I can accept the risk, then there's no problem, right? So I did see that potential engulfing there, right? So I just said, you know what, this just looks perfect. Like I don't see why I shouldn't take this, right? And my bias is derived from the previous liquidity sweep here. We have a sign of unwillingness here, right? And we have order flow disruption from a minor intraday basis here. So I know that this could be potentially time for it to start to roll over. And not to mention, we just started a New York session. So who's to say volatility can't just come in, right, and give us a big move? And I ended up taking a previous or the immediate target, which being right this previous low here, but I could have also aimed for down here, right, which would have ended up being like a 188, right? And that 188 is only possible because of where I'm deriving my bias from, which is right the major intraday time frames. So this could have easily, become a very, very big trade. But as you guys know, or if you guys have even seen videos from like the past year or so, uh, there are times when my TP is hit and then it kind of just reverses on me. So this is kind of just part of the process. Like I don't mind leaving money on the table, right? As long as I can keep showing up the next day. So this would have been actually like a monster trade, I believe. Like let's actually look at this. Like this ended up dying. Yeah, yeah, it did. Right. Whereas this would have been my minor intraday target, major intraday target here, right? Which I think hit barely, right? And then I was actually looking at the Asia session the next day, but I came in a little too late, but this was like a perfect sweep model here, right? So once we reach that previous low here, you can see that that's swept, right? And then you have the new day coming into play, right? You have a solidified low that went into the high, right? That technically begins the pullback, but once this begins to give a move into the downside, there's actually like a little sweep model here, if you guys can see that, right? Where technically we had the internal structural disruption here, right? And we could have used the whole buy to sell or sell to buy, sorry, to create a zone, which would have been like take profit one here. And then that led to being a very big move. I just wasn't able to catch it for the day during Asia. But yeah, that created another move to the upside too. But overall, those are executions for the day or for the week, sorry. Any questions, concerns with what we are talking about? Love the OFD plays. Yeah, the OFD model is very consistent as long as you can understand what a reaction of a POI means. And if you can derive a bias from the higher time frame. And for people, last thing about this trade, I did note this POI, this point of interest, right? But the reason why I'm not anticipating this POI to be the catalyst to break, relative equal highs or whatever the fuck is because, right, liquidity sweep, unwillingness, order flow disruption. So this is a sign of unwillingness from a minor intraday standpoint, sorry, but this is a scalp POI. So I'm always going to take the minor intraday bias over the scalp POI. right? So that's also why this transition, right? I'm looking for the transition here and not looking to continue to the upside. But yeah, any questions, concerns with those two executions? About the time frame bias? About this? Uh, about here? Sure, you can talk on the mic, that's fine.
Yeah, you like to scalp, I see, and so do I. And I feel like when you look at the very high time frame, it really is like negligent on your position on the intraday. Like,
I agree. That's why the highest time frame I've shown today is the H1.
yeah. And
Mhm.
another question is when I look for like a bias going into the session and into like my trading session, um, I feel like I get mixed up. If you look at the 1 hour and you see like a solidified point, it it kind of shows like the CBOS, isn't it like a higher time frame than the 1 hour solidified point?
Well,
Am
it
I?
depends. You would have to show me. It depends.
Oh, okay,
Like
okay. Thank you.
for example, this one right here, let's give or take like this, right, is a major intraday because it created the leg within an H1 time frame. So this is probably an internal leg of like a H4 daily swing time frame.
I see. Thank you.
Hmm. So yes, I think yes is the correct answer. But yeah, I don't like to go like above H1 unless I'm looking at POIs. Like for example, like EU bounced off of a nice POI, right, on the daily. If you guys saw this, excuse me. Like I only go to like above like an H1 for like either a target or a point of interest and just kind of just have that as the reference. But I won't use this as a zone. I use this as the reference point. So this could be if I have an internal bearish move here, then I can use the daily move or the daily POI as a target for the internal bearish move, if that makes sense. So, but I wouldn't use this as a bias. Like I'm not bullish. Excuse me. Right. Like today, I don't think there was execution today. Well, actually, there was a position ready today, right? And the only one that made sense, I think, was GU today, for example, like just because it's very clear, equal highs, take the move, right? But once we come back down, I can't justify a sell position yet because at the time we're still bullish. So like let's say we go down here, right? Technically we are still bullish, right? So once we take all of this liquidity, let me go ahead and mark it out. Right? Take all that liquidity, come into session, right? And then session, we have order flow disruption. Order flow disruption again is right here, right? Where we have a reaction of the POI, right? There's probably a confirmed reaction internally. Technically, I guess yes. Yeah, there was, yeah. Break of internal high here. And then it breaks the POI. So once that breaks the POI, then you now have a minor intraday sweep, right? Plus the um scalp order flow disruption, which then justifies you to either use a Fibonacci, right, which could be from here to here, right, which comes back into golden pocket, or you can just look at the last buy to sell, which is here, here, right, because this is the buy to sell that confirmed the order flow disruption, or you can use the point of reference here. Right. It's very like to each their own at this point. Like you could use the POI of the inefficiency or you could use the entire POI. And my immediate target is the London low here. That's pretty much my main target for the day, if I'm being honest. Because I'm looking for session volatility. I'm not looking for uh I'm not looking to swing anymore these days. You're in this on GU? Nice, nice. But yeah, it's kind of textbook. Like taking liquidity, but more importantly, the order flow disruption model. That's what generates the timing for me to find an entry. And yeah, 3.73. Yeah, that's a decent risk to reward, but then you can see a 6 risk to reward, which this alone would make me be done for the day. Your gold trade today was an OFD play. Yeah, man, let's go ahead and before we get to case studies though, let's let me discuss real quick the project that I've been working on since October, since pretty much since I stopped uploading Zooms or getting on Zooms. I just kind of wanted to commit for like the next couple of months to something. And I actually, me and a really good buddy of mine that I used to personally um mentor. I hate that word mentor. It's just I say I used to help him. I'm gonna just say that. I hate the word mentor. Um, but I was personally helping him out, like learning how to trade and all that. And he actually found a really good interest in developing EAs, right? And after a lot of trial and error that we had over the past like year or so, give or take, we actually built a model that has generated us a very hefty return. Which I'll show you guys the my FX pick. I don't really care. Um, excuse me. Let's see. Hit the refresh button. Refresh button. Yeah. So today, this was I think we did like we did about 0.8% a day. We've been averaging about 0.4 to 0.6% every single day for like the past couple of months. Um, and this has been very, very good. Like this is our best model so far, and this is something I've been building for like the past like 6 months. Um, the highlight here, obviously, you could say is the return, right? And then the second most important thing to me would be right the average gain. So today we did 0.75%, excuse me, which is about zero point 0.2 more than what we usually do, which means our average is in between 0.4 to 0.6. Excuse me. Um, but right, more importantly, I think this is also like a very big thing here, right? Our win rate, longs won. We've won 71% of our longs and we won 68% of our shorts. Uh, we've also, let me see, where's another good stat? I've taken about 10,000 trades on the one. It's a very simple hedging model that we have that kind of does a lot of micro trades and it works like 24/5. So this is something that we've been working on for the past couple of months, and we actually did like a pretty big withdrawal on April. Yeah, in April. Right, we did April 11th, we did $10,000, and then April 13th, we did $21,000. But yeah, man, it's been a bit of a rough ride. But now we've kind of had everything super consistent now. Like we're averaging 0.6% a day, like every single day almost. I do have a question for you guys after this, but I just wanted to show you guys, see what you guys thought. Any questions or concerns with this? No, I will never sell this. I will never, ever, ever sell this. Fuck no. Um, but I do have a lot of inquiries for people trying to throw money at me, for this type of model, and I'm considering it. I'm considering it like I'm really, really considering it, and I already have like 3 to 4 avenues of clientele ready to go. So if I was to make this like a public thing, it would have to be like an application process where, we kind of just make sure that everybody that is involved, like not only has like enough capital to make this worth it, but also that you understand like, just how this process could go. And it has to be, people that I can at least trust to an extent. So I will probably be opening up applications for this at the end of the month. Um, and as you guys can see, right, everything is everything is real IC markets, real account. Everything is automated, refresh. Like there's no issue here. And I can share this with you guys, but when I share it, I don't show like the amount of money that's in the account, right? Like I'll just show you guys this. But yeah, any questions, concerns? Is this something of interest to anybody? Does anybody care? Etc. Excuse me. This is well stuff. Yeah, I'm actually, you know what? I'm gonna put this track record in the Discord right now. Put it under the so I kind of named I had an initial name for it, but I might change it. Just I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I do have like a lot of stuff lined up with this. And if anybody would like to join the journey, like let's ride this wave. Anybody who's down. Um I love it. Is it going to be used with a specific broker? Well, it depends. What it depends. I'm gonna have like two different or I'm at 2 to 3 different setups. One is uh like an internal management. Can you send the Discord link again, please? I put it in the chat. The link. But yeah, this is, let's say, but yeah, this track record is from October. Yeah, October 2nd up until now. Like today, like I said, we did 0.75%. And actually, um, the reason why it's gonna be you're gonna need a specific amount of money is because I actually booted up like $1,000 in a separate account just to see how the risk management would work. And it's not as efficient per se. Like there's a lot more risk in capital that's like under, let's say, $5,000. Um, so yeah, just want to know what you guys think. How much money is needed? We'll see. We'll see. Like, even if people have the quota or the amount of money that I look for, like I may not want them as a client. So I'm gonna make everything application only. Have an application, have a meeting, and then discuss terms, and then kind of go from there. But I will have different setups. I do have a buddy who is owner of a, I think, FCA regulated broker or something like that. I think it's FCA, but uh, they do, or they are regulated outside of the US. So if I was to do it through a specific broker, it'd be through them, but they don't allow US clients. Right? They're based out of Africa. Um and yeah, I know everybody on the team, so that would be the only way I do it, through that broker or through a specific broker. But then I would have like my own personal management. Yeah, 0.4 a day automated. Yeah, it's crazy. Like it's actually like insane. I don't like the drawdown sometimes. Like, yeah, we can do 0.6% a day, but like I don't like if drawdown goes to like 1%, 2%. So I can also like alter the risk settings like to kind of just fit what maybe the client would want. But I don't know, it's a work in progress. I just wanted to show you guys, introduce it. Show you guys that it's legit. Like I have the link in the Discord. And yeah, kind of just go from there. So any questions, concerns with this? Any final questions before we get to case studies for the day? Probably only have like 20, 30 more minutes. Really good. Thank you. Really good. Have some random questions, not chart related. Sure, we can get to that. And then why you asked me that is for the rich guys, 10K capital is tough. I mean, no comment for that, bro. In the US, 10K isn't much money at all. Worth it, bro. Take a loan. Fuck no, do not take no fucking loan for this. Are you stupid? You never ever do. You never ever take a loan for a high risk investment. That's ridiculous. But yeah, anyways, what are the questions? Go ahead and start sending me some case studies before we call it for the day. Waiting patiently. We'll see. But yeah, I would never ever ask for someone to take a loan. Fuck no. But yeah, any questions, concerns, guys? Any case studies? I'm ready to go. If not, I'll give it like 10 more minutes and we can call it a day. Yeah, go ahead and send your case studies and we can go from there. What about the workshop? I don't know if I want to do that, man. Like, I'm just to a point right now where if it's not making me enough, like enough for the effort that I'm gonna put in, like I don't know if I want to commit to it. Like I'm you guys know, if you guys have been following me for years, you guys know that I'm very driven by stuff that I want to do. Like anything I do, I want to do it. And if I don't want to do it, then I won't. Like I just have that the blessing of that freedom. So I don't know if I really want to do workshops. Like maybe, maybe maybe I can use like this automation to build a higher client base or just a more of a following, and then maybe it would be worth it to have workshops, right? Where it can be like a low ticket event. Excuse me. But but I don't know. We'll see. That's in the future. Excuse me. But yeah, if it will be a profit sharing ratio, I will have like certain fees depending on stuff. Can you not put it in this chat? Let's see. Uh, I dropped it on our Discord. Bro, just can you send the links on here or no? Or is it that too much to ask for? Uh, XE has been consolidating for a while. Can we look at it, please? No, you can look at it and you can show me what you're thinking. That's fine. Okay, cool. All right, we can go do that. That's fine. That's better. Um, this is not. Look, I think your charts are private. Legit, I think your charts are private. Chart layout sharing, whatever this says. Yeah, so yours isn't working. This is Daniel's. Let's see. Okay, what am I looking at here? OFD play? OFD play where? I'm sorry. Am I missing something here? Oh, this top tier. Okay, I did see that. Okay, hold on. I mean, did you take this? Where's your execution? I don't see your execution. I wouldn't consider this an OFD play though. I mean, like an OFD play here would have been, let's say, yes, this is potentially the last buy to sell, came back, mitigated, had an internal reaction, broke through. But then the whole point of it breaking through a POI is to have, right, the internal range to play off of, right? I wouldn't use that in this scenario because we're technically still bearish here. So I still would have assumed this to be technically bullish. Bottom box? What do you mean bottom box? I guess you could I mean I don't see it. Okay, okay, you put it here, but I don't. This is not an order flow disruption play, bro. This is a I would consider this more of like of a risky play because yes, you have the bottom arrow, right? Yes, you have CBOS, you have CBOS, so you still have high, which is solidified point, low, solidified point here, right? This would be the retracement. This would be the unwillingness. So this, I still expect this to take out this low, so I cannot justify buying here unless there's like a model here. if that makes sense, because this type of entry will cause a lot of losses, I would say. Because it's like it's like you're trying to say you're in a bullish model. It's like if you're trying to sell here, where you're still expecting this to be targeted because it's low, high retracement, right? High, low retracement. That makes sense. I think you're nitpicking here. Whoever this is, I think you're nitpicking. You're stuck in a range. Like you failed to break lows, you failed to break highs. So if you're planning to break both ways, and that's not called no man's land. So once you have no man's land, um, I kind of stay away. So this is not a trade I would take. I would not focus too much internally here, especially because there is no direction. You're stuck in a range, if you can see. And in areas of low liquidity, you can see models. You could definitely see models in areas of low liquidity, like consolidation. But because there's no movement being shown, then you're kind of just guessing and it lowers the probability. Because when was this? Today? Was this today? When was this? When was this? Hello? Hello? When was this trade? No? I guess. Okay. This one I like a little bit more. It's not, I like this one a little bit more because, right, we have direction up, CBOS. So once this is solidified, we expect this low to take you to this high, right? But this reference point, yes, correct. You cannot sell here yet because of my previous point, right? Like you can't come in and sell here. Doesn't make sense, right? Unless you have a transition. So pull back low, right? You have solidification there, but then you do have that reference point, the buy to sell, correct? Right. And this is technically order flow disruption because you have a sell to buy, you have touch of the POI, reaction confirmed, and then break. But also, what's really good here is high momentum. I love when high momentum comes into play. The reason why is because it implies an engulfing. Why you can't? What are you talking about? But yeah, high momentum. To me, that implies also potentially either inefficiency or an engulfing. It could be one of the two. And then you come back into the last buy to sell, which is perfect. So this take profit here. That's textbook play. And what is this, like a 1 to 3? 1 to 3, 1 to 3 point something? 10. And then 20. Yeah, it's like about almost a 3, almost a 3. But yeah, I like that one. That was good. Mm-hmm. Like this. I like this a lot. This is a textbook continuation play because you have, right? This is actually a very nice trade. This one, right?
Thank you. I
Bullish,
took it 2 days ago.
bullish. You come back into sell to buy zone. You can see that. And move on to the next picture. Right. Then you have solidification of the low, right? This is where we come back into the sell to buy zone. We have solidification of the low, right? And not only do you not just take the POI, so this is something that I used to do. Obviously, like back in the when the style was still relatively new, this is something we used to do is just kind of use POIs, take them, and then pray for the best. But here you have a reaction based, so you have the point of interest, good, and you have right the internal right liquidity grab that solidifies the low, which gives you a reference point for right? This, which is the sell to buy, which gives you the reference on where to buy, and then you have external target. So once again, very good. This is very good. This is probably like a obviously A plus setup when
Yeah,
you
it
have
was
the
4
the,
minutes
the
in the
trend
trade as
continuation.
well.
You have the trade continuation, you have solidification, then you have internal transition, right? Is this LGC? Yes, it is LGC. It is LGC because you have this LG, which is favoring the external after the low has been solidified. This one. But yeah, very good trade. Very good trade. I mean, technically, because you're bullish, you do have LG, you have the sweep, right? The sweep comes after you have a run on liquidity, then right, you have the internal transition, which is here, right? And then you use this with your invalidation at the low. Good with using the invalidation at the low, and we're good. Okay, probably do like a couple more, then I do have to go, guys. Big view. Oh, sorry. Give me a sec. Okay, so major intraday is bullish. I don't see time frames, but I recommend you to add point time frames. Um, I don't know what time frames we're looking at, so I don't know what structural level I'm potentially looking at. But it looks like maybe like a major intraday time frame come into. I don't know why this is a POI. I don't see how this is a POI. So yes, internally this is bearish. Right, internally it's bearish here. So I would anticipate, right, the continuation internally, but the external seems to be bullish. So when the external is bullish, then I'm kind of not inclined to sell, especially internally. So here, I don't know what the question is. I mean, if this high is ran, then now I can anticipate, right, the pullback and then into the upside because now this is a solidified point which favors the major intraday direction from the beginning. Oh, bottom right corner. Oh, sorry, I'm blind. Sorry. Okay, 5 minute. Okay. 15 minute. Yeah, I don't understand the question here. I no. This is not. Well, it depends on what scale you're looking at, bro. Like this is why, like I said, I don't go above the H1 if I'm looking for like my bias for the day. It doesn't favor me to use H4 direction when I'm scalping, right? So it's like what direction are we looking for here and what structural level are we trying to play at? Are we trying to be a scalper, intraday trader, minor intraday trader, swing trader? And then once you figure that out, then okay, now I can have designated time frames for certain things. For me, it was bearish. I mean, no, this is not bearish. I mean, what yes and no. Like you're right, but you're wrong. So, like it just what level are we talking about? Are we talking scalp? Are we talking intraday? Right? Like there's no specificity here. So to answer your question, for you it was bearish, yes, but no, if that makes sense. I don't know if this is a LGC or not. I can't see beyond here. I don't know if this is LGC or not. Um, but right, it is a liquidity grab. Indeed, here we have the liquidity grab confirmed here. Come back here, but your validation is here, so I would put that there because there's three things that can happen to POI: the open 50% or the liquidity grab of the POI. So I would put my stop loss here, and your immediate target is definitely here. Okay, guys, any more or should we just call it a day here? Last one is the okay. Okay, reversal play. Reversal play is fine. This is a textbook sweep model. If anybody wants to know, textbook sweep model. In external is bearish, right? We're expecting this solidified high, or this solidified high, sorry, to still continue lower. Doesn't matter what's going on here. Still expecting this to continue lower. Uh, coming into sell to buy, right? That created the start of the pullback, right? Then we have the internal LG confirmation, right? But because this is an LG, right? After you sweep this within a sell to buy um, POI, then yes, this is a justified entry. So I'm not opposed to the stop loss here, but technically it should be here. But I'm also not opposed to having that stop loss there because if you do break this from here, excuse me, then you're kind of solidifying a high. So it would be high, low, retracement, and you would expect this to continue lower. So I'm not opposed to the stop loss there. And then target, obviously, relative equal highs. That's fine. Alrighty, boys. Any last questions, concerns? I will upload this to YouTube. I'm gonna upload it right now, but I'll have it published probably later, a little bit later. So any more questions, concerns? Before I head out, you took this one. I like it. I like it. Transition. C CBOS, right? CBOS, you expect this to continue higher, takes liquidity, then breaks, but you still have this as an external CBOS. So you have unwillingness. That's key, right? And then the engulfing. Once again, love engulfings, right? And then you could have either taken it off of the buy to sell here, or like you did, could have taken the mitigation, right? But if I'm taking an execution here, yeah, I would have, if I would have taken this buy to sell, which after the engulfing, then I would put my stop loss here. And then I would just look for that to continue lower. When you start trying to use your own capital, I've never used prop firms. Like I had like an FTMO challenge like a year and a half ago, but then they lost the meta trading license. So I literally never used it. Like I was like in phase one, I just never used it. Like I just didn't want to use that shitty DX trade platform. And I think I probably lost access to it now. Who knows? But yeah, I'm not a prop firm guy. I really don't give a shit about him. Like it's a business model meant to only win if you lose. So I'm whatever. Like if you have an edge and you want to go take advantage of that, all the best. But it's just not something I want to be associated with. Alrighty, guys. I'm about to head out. It's nice talking to you guys. Good seeing you guys, good talking to you guys. Definitely no, it's not. Well, yes, technically valid, but then the model targets here. So this would have been TP1 or TP, right? Like I'd rather see this give me a bigger break so that I could use this as the reference point. So yeah, I try not to be too specific, but I'm also like very big on like only trading like New York or like the beginning of or like the second hour of Asia, first hour of Asia. But yeah. All right, guys, it's good talking to you guys. We'll be in touch. I'll probably do these a little bit more often. And yeah, see you guys on the next one.